around my fingers then. Yeah, that's a bit better. Whether the kartals are any good, that's another thing. The garland. What's our verse? 45?
45.
Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Ravana-chari Jamuna Ravana-chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jagopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Ravana-chari Jamuna Ravana-chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashto Tadashashi Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sisi Guru and Gaurango. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, Chapter 16, King Chitraketu Meets the Lord, text number 45. Ata Bhagavan Vayam Aduna Tvad Avaloka Parim Stasaya Malaha Sura Rishina Yat Katitam Tavakena Katam Anyata Bhavati. Ata Bhagavan Vayam Aduna Tvad Avaloka Parim Rishtasaya Malaha Surasina Yat Katitam Tavakena Katam Anyata Bhavati. Ata Bhagavan Vayam Aduna Tvadavaloka Paramrishta Sayama Malaha Surasina Yat Katitam Tavakena Katam Anyata Bhavati. Vayam Aduna Tavaloka Paramrishta Surasina Yat Katitam Tavakena Yakatam Anyata Bhavati. Ata, therefore, Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vayam, we, Aduna, at the present moment, Tvat Avaloka, by seeing you, Paramrishta, wiped away, Asaya Malaha, contaminated desires in the heart, Shura Rishina, by the great sage of the demigods, Narada, Yat, which, Katitam, spoken, Tava Kena, who is your devotee, Katam, how, Anyata, otherwise, Bhavati, can it be? Therefore, my dear Lord, simply seeing you has now wiped away all the contamination of sinful activities and their results of material attachment and lusty desires, which always filled my mind and the core of my heart. Whatever is predicted by the great sage Narada Muni cannot be otherwise. In other words, I have obtained your audience as a result of being trained by Narada Muni. Purport. This is the process of the perfect way. One must take lessons from authorities like Narada, Vyasa, and Asita, and follow their principles. Then one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead even with one's own eyes. One only needs training. Atasi Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriyai. With our blunt eyes and other senses, we cannot perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, according to the instructions of the authorities, it will be possible to see Him. As soon as one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the sinful reactions in the core of one's heart are certainly vanquished. Om Jnana Timidandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahayam Dadati Svapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. Prabhupada says here, this is the process of the perfect way. So what is Maharaj Chitraketu doing? What is he doing? He's what? He's seeing the Lord. Yes, he's seeing. He's had darshan of the Lord. He's following Narada Muni's instructions. Yes. What is he doing now, though? What in this verse? What is he doing in previous verses? What is he doing? What do you think? What was that, sorry? The instructions from the authorities. Yes, he's doing that. But in these verses, what is he actually doing? Yes, he's glorifying the Lord. And who else? The sages. Yes, the devotees, effectively, the sages. In particular, who is he glorifying? Who? Narada Muni. Yeah, that's right, Narada Muni. He's glorifying Narada Muni, who is his spiritual master. Yeah. This is a duty of the disciple, is to offer prayers and offer appreciation, glorification of the spiritual master. Because without the, what is it? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan na gati gatopi. The ultimate destination is to see the Lord for the devotee. And this is part of the process. The following of the instructions of the spiritual master. What is it? Chaku dana dilo je jamme jamme Prabhu se divya jnana hriday prakashito. Right? Prema bhakti jaha hoite avijave nasayate vede gayahara charito. Right? The disciple offers prayers to the spiritual master. And why is it here? He opens my darkened eyes with the light or the torch of transcendental knowledge. Right? He is my Lord, birth after birth. Yeah. So, Prabhupada is saying here, this is the process of the perfect way. The disciple follows the instructions of the spiritual master. So Prabhupada says here, one must take lessons from authorities like Narada. Right? Because ordinarily, without qualification, one can't see Lord Vishnu. One can't see the Lord. Morning, gentlemen. Welcome. Where's your? Oh, I was going to say, where's your big brother? There was a time when your big brother was as small as you guys. So, generally speaking, one is not qualified to see the Lord. Doesn't reveal himself. And so Prabhupada quotes this verse, Ata Sri Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriyai, that ordinarily with our blunt material senses, we're not able to perceive the transcendent, the spiritual, and why the disciple prays Oma Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya, that ordinarily our vision, certainly our material vision, isn't sufficient, isn't capable of penetrating the covering of the material energy to see the spiritual. Right? Ultimately, everything comes from Krishna. Aham, was it? Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, isn't it? Everything comes from Krishna. Krishna is behind everything. But if we look at what's going on with our material vision, what do we see? We only see the external, or not. Sometimes things happen to us. Sometimes, often things happen to us and we wonder why. Why? And we're not able to see the workings of the material energy and the very often not able to see the plan of the Lord. Just like here, Maharaj Chitraketu, when Narada Muni, not Narada Muni, who was Angira Muni, right? When Angira Muni first met Maharaj Chitraketu, what was his preoccupation? What was his preoccupation? Chitraketu. What was Maharaj Chitraketu's preoccupation when he first met? He wanted a child. Specifically, a son. Right, he wanted a son. Oh, I need it. My son, right? And so Angira didn't preach to him then, right? But fulfilled his desire. But at the same time gave him a warning, right? And when Maharaj Chitraketu was in a state of bereavement and could feel the pain of separation and the power of the material energy, you know, the material energy can satisfy our desires, right? And so we're feeling happy, but then what happens? Prabhupada had his Bhagavad Gita manuscript stolen in New York in the very early days when he was by himself in the Bowery. And Prabhupada's response was, Krishna gives and Krishna takes away. And you can imagine how much effort he must have put into, he'd written the whole Bhagavad Gita. It was a manuscript. And it was stolen. And so what did Prabhupada do? He wrote it again. He wrote the book again. You know, and the Bhagavad Gita is a big book. Although, isn't it interesting, you know, I guess from Prabhupada's perspective, the Bhagavad Gita is a small book. Right? Compared to the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the Bhagavatam is a small book. I used to, when I would visit my friends and I'd see they had the Bhagavad Gita, I thought, whoa, that's a big book. Very challenging. So Prabhupada said, Krishna gives and Krishna takes away. And the material energy is like that too. Adyanta vanta kunteya na teshu ramate buddha. The intelligent don't take pleasure in the facilities provided by the material energy because in due course of time it'll be taken away. It comes and it goes. Right? So we're very often not able to see the plan of Krishna working behind. With our material eyes, we're just confused. That's why the disciple prays, Om Agyana. Agyana, I'm in ignorance. But I offer prayers to my spiritual master because he's opened my darkened eyes with a salve of bhakti. Right? So it's the duty of the disciple to, and the natural inclination, the natural tendency of a disciple to glorify the spiritual master because the spiritual master has revealed transcendental knowledge, has provided, instead of seeing things with a material vision, the disciple is able to see everything with spiritual eyes. And what does Prabhupada say here? One only needs training. One only needs training. And that training is following the order of the spiritual master. Following the instructions of the spiritual master. And that's both implicitly and explicitly. What's the blowing of the conch? Somebody practicing. Either that or there's something important going on outside. So this is really it's Maharaj Chitraketu is glorifying his spiritual master, Narada Muni. It's like today is the Vyasa Puja for His Holiness Devamrita Swami. So the devotees will be glorifying their spiritual master and showing appreciation for the gift, the transcendental vision that the spiritual master bestows upon the disciple. But of course the disciple has to be qualified. Right? Has to have qualifications. Just like, if you're going to go to university, you need to pass the entrance exam. Right? They just don't let anybody into the university. One has to be qualified. And then if one's qualified, and we see here with Maharaj Chitraketu, he is demonstrating his qualifications by showing appreciation for the gift that his spiritual master has provided. So it's the duty, and but it's also the natural inclination of a disciple to glorify the spiritual master, because he's respectful and appreciative of the qualifications of the guru, of the spiritual master, and he's inquiring appropriately with that mood of respect and what is it? Pranipatena, respectful, and pariprashnena, inquisitive, right? And also sevaya, has a service attitude, right? So Maharaj Chitraketu had the qualifications. Now, but at least after he lost his son, right? Very interesting. So he was feeling bereft, feeling the pain of separation, the pain of the of material existence, effectively. Right? Samsara dava nala lida loka. Right? The pain of material existence is keenly felt by somebody who's soft-hearted, and is generally the quality of a devotee is that they're very soft-hearted, and can appreciate the sufferings of others. Why? Because they've experienced it themselves. Right? So, Maharaj Chitraketu is showing these qualifications of submission, of inquiry, of service. And so as a result of that, he's become qualified. This is basically the process. One has to submit. What is it? Ado Guru Pad Ashraya is the first item of the 64 items of devotional service recommended by Rupa Goswami. Well, so he's taken shelter of Narada Muni, following Narada Muni's instructions. In other words, accepting the training, accepting the discipline. The disciple means discipline. And so, following the order of his spiritual master, then Maharaj Chitraketu has got the benefit, he's got the darshan. And so Prabhupada says here, one must take lessons from authorities like Narada, Vyasa and Asita and follow their principles. Then one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even with one's own eyes. One only needs training. So this is an important point. Then Prabhupada quotes this verse from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Atasi Krishna namadi na bhaved grayam indriyai. With our blunt eyes and other senses, we cannot perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But, and this is where the discipline of the spiritual master is important, if we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, according to the instructions of the authorities, according to the instructions of the spiritual master. Right? Guru mukha padma vakya chittete kariya akya arana kariho manayasa. What is it? My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from the lotus mouth of my spiritual master. Right? Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection which fulfills all desires. So what does it mean, the attachment to the lotus feet of the spiritual master? What does that mean effectively? Any ideas? Surrender to what? What's that? Yeah, the order. Yeah, the orders. The order of the spiritual master. The instructions. Well, that's why we sing that prayer every morning. Guru Mukha, that's the instructions of the spiritual master. Guru Mukha. Mukha means what? Face, yeah. It refers to his instructions. Did you get up too early this morning, huh? Daylight saving is really painful, isn't it? It's not actually 20 past 8, it's actually 20 past 7. But don't think about that. You'll spoil your day. So, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Kariya Akya. The instructions of the spiritual master, when followed, purify the heart, purify the mind, purify the senses, right? So that one's, as a consequence or as a result of that purification, one's able to perceive the Lord's presence in everything, right? This is mystical process of bhakti. And why the spiritual master is considered so important. But Krishna says that the spiritual master should be treated, should be respected, should be honored as good as him, as good as Krishna. And Prabhupada says the relationship with the spiritual master is as good as one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because by that connection with the spiritual master and following his instructions, one gets connected to Krishna also. This is a mystical process, right? And why the orders of the spiritual master are honoured and respected by the disciple, because they are as good as the orders of Krishna, right? Why we study the Bhagavad Gita. On the order of the spiritual master, we follow the instructions. We study the Bhagavad Gita in order to come closer to Krishna through the performance of bhakti. So those activities, the activities given by the spiritual master are considered, they're not on the material platform. They're on the spiritual platform. Even though externally it looks like we're doing the same things. Those activities or those actions performed under the order of the spiritual master are considered to be actions of the spiritual world, not of the material world. Right? And through the potency of those activities and through the purification of those activities, the vision, the transcendental vision is bestowed on the disciple. Right? It was mentioned in yesterday's purport that the Lord reveals himself in two ways, actually, for us especially. Prabhupada mentions once one sees the Lord through the chanting of Hare Krishna, right? And what was the other way? How do we see the Lord every day? Yes, by the deities, by the form of the deity, right? And this is and we were reading last week, I think when I gave class also, Prabhupada was saying, that by seeing the deity every day, and what else? By taking prasadam every day, gradually one becomes purified. Right? The relationship between Krishna and the devotee becomes clearer and clearer as one chants Hare Krishna and as one worships the deity. And Narada Muni is showing appreciation for that now. Yesterday he was saying, just by chanting, just by hearing, not even chanting, but by hearing the name of the Lord, one is purified. Right? Or he's saying actually, by seeing you, one is purified, but simply by hearing your name, one is purified. Right? And of course these are the key activities of a disciple. Right? That one chants and one serves the deity. Yeah, and so by following that process, and it is it's like. If you want to be, like today there's a marathon on, right? The Melbourne Marathon. if you want to win the Melbourne Marathon, what do you have to do? Train. You got to train. You know, in many respects, the winning of the marathon is, what's the word? Oh, it's special, you know, win the marathon. But for most people, just to get to the end, that's the achievement. Forget about getting, you know, being the first. Just getting over the finish line, that's the victory, right? Huh? Participation, yes, participation. But completing. So devotional service is a bit like that, you know. It's not a sprint, you know, that will run hard and get to the finish line first. But rather it's an application of the instructions of the spiritual master. And by applying the order of the spiritual master, then automatically, almost automatically, right, one will see Krishna in due course. And the vision or the realizations of Krishna consciousness are revealed gradually to the disciple as he or she sticks to the order of the spiritual master. And we're seeing it here with Maharaj. And it's interesting because Maharaj Chitraketu previously was not qualified to receive these instructions. Right? He wasn't qualified. And Angira didn't preach to him. But he could see, you know, behind the scenes, Krishna's hand was working. And his benediction was a blessing, even though it came with a warning. Right? Your son will be the cause of great jubilation and the cause of great sorrow. And Maharaj Chitraketu was just thinking, oh yeah, well, you know, boys will be naughty. Are your boys naughty? No, they're not. Must be something wrong with them. Eh? Yeah. So, but it's interesting. Maharaj Chitraketu wasn't ready. And so Angira, and there's a lesson for us in that, you know. There's that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So, you know, just hammering people with philosophy may be appropriate, but the person has to be receptive. Right? And so therefore, you know, what's the 9th offence in chanting Hare Krishna? You know what's the 9th offence? To instruct the faithless. Yeah, don't encourage people. Even Krishna says, don't disturb the minds of the ignorant. Right? Don't disturb the minds of the ignorant, but encourage them in acts of devotion. So how do we do that? How do we do that? We go and chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna and people will hear the sound of the holy name and be purified. Right? And in that way then we gradually give prasadam, give books, give association. You know, by good example, people will be changed. People's hearts will change. So, and then, you know, by that process, by that activity of the training provided by the spiritual master, then one will see Krishna, guaranteed. Right? One will become purified. And so Maharaj Chitraketu, being a naturally appreciative, right? Even when a devotee becomes advanced, right, he still remains indebted. In fact, this is a symptom of an advanced devotee, is, I am your servant, dasosmi, right? Even when a devotee is very advanced, he or she still remains indebted to the spiritual master. This is part of the process. Right? Not that, now I'm so advanced I don't need my guru anymore. I can become the guru. Right? I'm now so advanced, I'm now the guru. I don't need my guru anymore because I'm now. Prabhupada said this is impersonal. Now I've become the guru, listen to me. But the disciple always remains indebted to, as we see here with Maharaj Chitraketu, the disciple always remains indebted to and obedient to the order of the instructions of the spiritual master. Like Prabhupada says, in the absence of the physical presence of the spiritual master, the pride of the disciple is his instructions, the instructions that he receives, right? And Prabhupada says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, he lives forever by his divine instructions. Why we study the Bhagavad Gita, right? The Bhagavad Gita is 5,000 years old. More, actually. But in the context of the speaking of the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, 5,000 plus years old. Yet we still absorb our intellect. In fact, Krishna says, those who study the Bhagavad Gita worship me with their intelligence. And we still get inspiration and enlightenment by studying the words of Krishna that are 5,000 years old. It's not like, like if we're eager to read the daily newspaper, right? But how enthusiastic are you to read, last Sunday's paper? It's like, old, right? But the Bhagavad Gita is 5,000 years old. Why doesn't it seem old to us? Because it's not a material instruction, it's a purely spiritual instruction. So, Prabhupada says, he lives forever by his divine instructions and the follower lives with him. So this is a part of this, it's a spiritual science, not a material science, it's a spiritual science. And Maharaj Chitraketu is an example, is an exemplar, if you like. Why we study him, why he appears in the pages of the Bhagavatam, because he shows the transcendental exchange and the results of those exchanges. And of course, because of that, he's showing his appreciation and he's offering his prayers to Narada Muni, his guru, his spiritual master, because he's heard, he's followed, and then he's got the result. And we see that. We even feel it ourselves. We follow the instruction of the spiritual master. And as Prabhupada says, we naturally feel jubilant, right? What's jubilant? What's jubilant mean? jubilant. What's a jubilee? That's where jubilant comes from. Jubilee, what is it? What's that?
Celebratory, something like a celebration.
Yes, a celebration. Yeah. Jubilation means a celebration, which is Guru Puja, or even today Vyasa Puja. Right? Worship. It feels like worshipping the spiritual master. And Prabhupada says, it's not a material thing. The worship of the Guru is not it's a celebration of the disciple, of our relationship with Krishna through his representative, the spiritual master. And why Srila Prabhupada established daily Guru Puja for the members of ISKCON. It wasn't that Srila Prabhupada was, Prabhupada wasn't concerned about his own glorification. Of course he was concerned, but he understood the principle, the spiritual principle, that the disciple must worship the spiritual master in recognition of the fact that the spiritual master is the servant of God. Right? He's worshipped as good as God, but not God. Right? There's a subtle distinction. So Maharaj Chitraketu is demonstrating, and the Lord has appeared before him and offering his blessings, and Maharaj Chitraketu is showing his appreciation, showing his affection for and that's the Vyasa Puja, is an outpouring of affection. I remember the first Vyasa Puja I went to was Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja in 1978. And that was the first Vyasa Puja that the devotees had celebrated after Prabhupada's passing away. Right? And it was also it was the first weekend, the first night that Achincha Rupa and I stayed in the temple. The devotees in Adelaide, half of the devotees in Adelaide came to Melbourne for celebrating Janmashtami, so they were short of people, short of arms and legs. So the devotees encouraged me and Achincha Rupa to stay in the temple. And at midnight, the devotees said, "Would you like to clean the kitchen?" This is our first service on Janmashtami, was clean the kitchen. And I remember I was really fired up then, and so we went to bed at 2:00 or something like that. It was pretty late. Kitchen clean up on Janmashtami is pretty much, it's like an atom bomb has gone off in the Hare Krishna kitchen. There's just mess everywhere. So then 4:00 came, and I jumped up and, was enthusiastic. I'd only had a couple of hours sleep, but I was only 23, so full of beans. And I remember the other brahmacharis were saying, "Oh, give it, be quiet." and it was a Sunday. Janmashtami was on Saturday, and the Sunday feast was on the Vyasa Puja celebrations weren't until after, they were at the Sunday feast in the afternoon, right? So instead of fasting, we had breakfast, which I didn't mind. I thought that was pretty good. That was cool. And of course, we were honouring all of the prasadam from the Janmashtami, so that was even better. But then, and then it. I think it was Sikhi Puja said to me, "You've got to write a homage to Srila Prabhupada." I didn't know what. I didn't even know what to do. But then, when I heard the devotees offering their homages to Srila Prabhupada, then it really struck me how important and how potent and how dedicated, the Vyasa Puja is such an amazing event in the sense that one learns to appreciate the spiritual master, Krishna's representative, but at the same time also one gets a deep realization of the commitment and the dedication and the heart. One sees the heart of the devotee, right? And so that really struck me. I thought, ooh, whoa. And I'd been chanting 16 rounds for 2 weeks, right? I'd only been chanting 16 rounds for 2 weeks. And had been coming for the morning program for a week. This is, and so very, very new, I didn't know anything, practically speaking. But then when I went to the Vyasa Puja and Janmashtami, then Vyasa Puja, and I was deeply struck by the dedication of the devotees and their commitment, their dedication to Srila Prabhupada. That really struck me. Ooh, this is serious, right? This is serious. Made me more committed, made me more dedicated because of that. And so we're seeing that here with Maharaj Chitraketu. He's showing that depth of appreciation, a depth of understanding because of his vision, which has been bestowed by the mercy of Narada Muni. And so, and very interesting, he's not thinking, whoa, now I'm so qualified, right? But he's thinking, how indebted I am to my spiritual master. In fact, Prabhupada says, the debt that the disciple owes the Guru cannot be repaid. Right? Cannot be repaid. Right? That doesn't mean you don't do anything, by the way. The disciple is always thinking, I must show my appreciation for what my spiritual master has given me by rendering service. Effectively for us, it means by working cooperatively to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's orders. That's how we show our appreciation. Huh? Can you close that door, please? Drew, just behind you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, Maharaj Chitraketu also, and it is very interesting actually, when one makes spiritual advancement, it doesn't become proud of it. Although Prabhupada says a disciple is proud of his spiritual master and the relationship that he has with him. That doesn't mean he becomes proud. Right? Oh, now I'm so advanced. Right? No, he becomes even more humble. and appreciative in the understanding of his relationship with Krishna ultimately and with the spiritual master, and the disciple becomes more dedicated, more appreciative of his relationship with his spiritual master and the gift that's been given. And one becomes purified, one becomes happy and jubilant. Jubilant. Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions on any of these points? Yeah.
So in the Prabhupada, it is mentioned here, as soon as we see the deities, all the sinful activities will start.
As soon as one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the sinful reactions in the core of one's heart are certainly vanquished. But Rupa Goswami says, when you come before the deity and you clap your hands, then you're immediately relieved of all of your sinful reactions. What did Prabhupada say? Rupa Goswami says, they fly away like the birds. You know, like if oh yeah, this microphone's conked out. There you go.
Thank you.
See if you can put the battery in, because the devotees who are watching on YouTube like to hear the questions. Yeah. Yes. So process is valid for everybody, but we're conditioned. We're conditioned. And so, you know, there's a saying, bad habits, or any habit, dies hard. Right? Yeah. But of course, that's what the spiritual master gives you. The spiritual master, in one sense, not from a material sense, but the spiritual master replaces material habits with spiritual habits. They want you in the kitchen. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Ladies, any thoughts? Realizations? Give him the microphone. We have to have a microphone culture in a Bhagavatam class.
Why do we need to glorify other devotees other than spiritual master?
Why do we need to glorify other devotees?
Yeah.
Other than the spiritual master?
Yes.
Ah, that's a good question. What we see is often that a limited understanding of, or shall we say, an understanding, right, of one's relationship with Krishna is that it's established through the diksha, the initiation, right? The formal diksha. And of course that's true. And so we glorify and worship the spiritual master, our initiating spiritual master, the Diksha Guru, right? And so often what happens is that one just then focuses on the relationship that one has with the Diksha Guru, forgetting that the relationship that one has with the Diksha Guru is a result of the relationships, plural, that we have with our instructing gurus, the Siksha Gurus. So the Diksha Guru is one, right? You can only have one Diksha Guru, but realistically, practically, we have many instructing gurus, right? And especially the Vartma Pradashika, or the devotee who, very often, the devotee who shows the way, for example, is recognized by, by name, if you like, the Vartma Pradashika, those who show the way, so introduces, right? And so you see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and in other writings, our Mangala Charan prayers, the first prayers are Vande Gurun, which means I offer my respects to all of my gurus, right? Not just the person who I've taken initiation from, which is the formal acceptance, right? And Bhaktivedanta Thakur mentions that actually the Siksha Guru is often more merciful than the Diksha Gurus because they give more association and instruction and advice. So we honour and respect Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, right? Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, the devotees who are very merciful to the fallen, to us, right? So we offer our respects to the devotees, and of course the guru, the initiating guru, is part of that, right? But what often happens initially, the focus is, the emphasis is on the relationship that one has with the Diksha Guru. He's given the name, we've taken our vows. The formal process has a focus, right? And so that becomes prominent in the minds of the disciples, and it eclipses the understanding of the importance of the relationship that one has with the other devotees, right? Of course it is important, but as one advances, then one realises the relationship with the Diksha Guru is important, but so is my relationship with all of the other devotees. And if it weren't for those devotees, I wouldn't even have the relationship with my Diksha Guru, right? Or I remember in my case, when I joined the temple, you were just given a picture, you were given some pranams, you were told, here's your guru, right? So I thought, oh, okay, no worries. He's my guru. And I was initiated here in Melbourne. And my initiating guru at the time was an inspiration for everybody. That relationship was deeply important. But what I realized, I spoke to my initiating guru, like once before I got initiated. And, once maybe a year or twice, for a few minutes, if at all, right? And then I came to the realization that, whilst my initiating guru was an inspiration, I realized that the people who are actually making my devotional life were Balaram was the temple president, and Korma was the head pujari, he was the head pujari, like the vice president. And I realized these are the people that are really saving me, right? If I was lazy and I didn't want to get out of bed, Korma would say, come on, get going. What are you doing? Get out of bed. Like your parents, right? Parents are always telling you, clean your teeth, comb your hair, right? The parents are always telling you what to do. And you end up thinking, what's wrong with these parents? They're always bossing you around, telling you what to do, right? But what is that a symptom of? And why do we have it? We have a debt to it. Just because we have a poor attitude towards our parents doesn't mean that our parents, and parents telling us what to do, means they love us. They show affection, right? So I realized I owe my spiritual life, yes, to my initiating guru, but also, or more importantly, at least that was my realization, that here's the devotees who, when I get in Maya, they get out, wake up, right? Wake up, sleeping soul, Jeev Jago. So I realized, yes, one has to be respectful to the initiating guru, but one also has to appreciate and recognize that Krishna is represented also by these other devotees, right? And so therefore we worship and we offer every morning, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha, broadly to all the Vaishnavas, right? Who are also manifestations of Krishna's mercy, right? In so many ways, right? So we honour the Guru, the Diksha Guru, but we also honour all of our Siksha Gurus as well. And that potentially can be all of the devotees. And so therefore we're respectful to all of the devotees. Although we still, Rupa Goswami advises us, and Lord Chaitanya advises us, and Prabhupada advises us, we need to, even within the association of the devotees, we respect everybody, but at the same time also we need to know who's an advanced devotee, who's a middle, madhyam bhakta, and who's a beginner, right? So it's a science, right? Subtle, a spiritual science actually, how to associate with all of the devotees, to take best advantage of each person's attributes and qualities, qualifications. And so therefore we offer respects to all the Vaishnavas, right? Some more than others. But still, the base relationship that we have with everybody is we should be respectful to everyone, right? Is that okay? Yeah. So that's why we worship the devotees as such. Anything else? Is that the right time? 9 o'clock is the actual the daylight saving time? Yeah, because these clocks change automatically because they're connected to the internet. Did you know that? No. That clock is connected to the internet. We're all connected. Through our phones, right? Nobody can say, "Oh, I didn't know what the time was." What's wrong with you? Haven't got a phone? These days, if you haven't got a smartphone, then you're not considered smart, right? Yeah. We're actually better off. We're actually better off being disconnected. But you still know what the time is. Yeah. Okay. So, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Maharaj Chitraketu ki jai, Sri Narada Muni ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Hare Krishna.